Today, we'll have a doctor and chiropractor, Nick Rohlfs, who's been practicing medicine for several years, and it is the official chiropractor for the Cincinnati Reds. And Nick is going to talk about his experience, how he built his practice, how he continued the legacy of his father, who started his practice years ago, and how he's taken it to a next level, because Nick was a baseball player from multiple schools, including Moeller High School, D1 school at the University of Cincinnati, and now he's taking care of the Cincinnati Reds. And his experience in baseball helped him to engage and to connect with these players. But he just don't do baseball. He does multiple sports. He's been taking care of professional tennis players, golfers, and for that reason, we want him today, because he is one of the leaders in chiropractic care. So stay with us, because on Sports Medicine and Baseball is where baseball meets sports medicine. And today is a collaboration with Dog Talks Podcast. That is a podcast made by Nick, and it's really interesting. So stay with us and let's start the show. And we are back with a good friend of mine, Nick Rohlfs. Nick, I have seen you since you were a baby, and that probably made me a little bit older, but I remember when I was with the Cincinnati Reds, seeing you coming from, chiropractic school around 2015. That is probably where you graduate. And seeing you being a really young guy and becoming a really important piece, taking care of these players that we love to watch. So first, before we talk on that, tell me how you're doing. Tell me how's life.
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're just keeping up with kids, and we've, beautiful family. I have 3 kids, and it's just you know how it is. It's nonstop chaos. It's loud, it's noisy, it's crazy, but we wouldn't have it any other way. So practice is good. I went into practice with my father about 11 years ago, and about two years ago, I ended up buying his portion of the practice. So I've taken ownership over that, and it's been good. It's been a definite learning experience. Just figuring out the trials and tribulations of owning a business and managing people. And so the last couple of years of life has definitely been wild. It's been a learning experience, but it's been growth too, which is something that that we all should aspire to and look forward to. So I've been it's been good. It's been fun. It's been something that I've really tried to grow into. So yeah.
That's probably a humble experience, but I see that you are waking up early or going a couple of hours through the day and spend some time in that indoor bike training that you have. And I have seen you biking out there. I started with you you started probably with me biking around Cincinnati area, but you're becoming a beast, man. Tell me, what is your plan? What are you training for this time? Just for people knowing you.
Yeah, so it started, my training started about 2 years ago, and I had some interest from a few other doctors at a orthopedic facility that I work at, and then and it's been something that I've really enjoyed. It's I started off doing a race. It was a fundraising race for cancer research, and it was a 100-mile race, and dude, it kind of just it grabbed me, and it really got me, and I've really fallen in love with cycling and just being on the bike for a long period of time. It's not like running, which I've always kind of, that's something I gravitated to, was running. And I guess endurance sports has been a big thing for me. And so now that I've gotten into cycling and biking, it's been something fun to just help me escape from some of the stuff that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And I'm currently training for there's a race in Colorado. It's called the Leadville 100. It's actually a mountain biking race, but it has a lot of features of road biking or road cycling. So it's one of the hardest races in the country, and I'm looking to take on that in August 15th this year. So it's been fun. I've just been, learning how to train for a different sport. I played baseball, my whole life, and that was one, thought process of training. And this has just been something totally different. It's kind of definitely caught my interest, and it's been something fun to just challenge myself with. I feel like I'm I'm always kind of looking for a challenge, and this has been something that has been on my radar for a couple years now. And those early mornings that we go out with you, and just the fun we've had, and pushing each other. It's that competitive spirit that you kind of never, when you're an athlete, you kind of never give that up, and it's still it's still within me, and I still want to see what I have, and prove to my kids that I'm still an athlete.
I know, I know. My kids don't believe that I'm an athlete, and actually, I don't think that I am. But when I bike with you, at least the last time, you made me feel like one. I see you behind me at the stretch, but I'm scared to do it this year because I know you're coming after. I know that I'm gonna get behind this time. I know it. I already feeling it. So obviously, you're a guy that has been doing sports all your life. You come from an excellent program, Moeller High School. Went 4 years to play baseball for UC. You play as a catcher, the really position, where people are, catchers are really smart, right? Know the game really well, are really methodical, prepare for things. And probably, that's the type of guy that you are. Now, how that help you going and taking care of these high level players at the best baseball in the world? Tell me how being a catcher help you or being a player.
Yeah, so I think that a catcher is kind of viewed the same way as a shortstop is viewed. It's like these are the leaders of the team. You have the whole field in front of you, and you can see everything happening in front of you. And I feel like in that position, you've got to really understand how to, take the reins of what's going on and help lead and guide people, as to, what, how to manage the game. And, it's something that, I think you can learn a lot from that position, and it can really help turn you into, a good leader, in whatever aspect of life you carry on, whether that be leading a team of, within a workspace, or leading a family. I think that, the role of a catcher, you're not praised enough. You're beat up throughout a game. And it's kind of like an offensive lineman or like a center, like those guys, they have to direct everything on the front line. And they're not praised nearly enough for, what the job they get done. All the praise goes towards the quarterback. And the same thing kind of happens in baseball. The pitcher's praised for the no hitter, and the catcher's just there, and was a help along the way. But in reality, if you think about it, those were the guys that probably had, 65, 70, 80% of the reason why the no hitter happened. So, it's a fun position. You learn a lot about yourself. Once again, it's grinding through the trials and tribulations. And, like I said, it's something that doesn't get noticed enough because, you have to be on for every pitch during the game, and you can't take a mental break when you're playing that role. So it's, like I said, it's helped me, become a better leader for my office. It's helped me communicate better with physicians that I work with, and just kind of understanding where people are coming from, and how to help direct things in the right way. So like, it's a great position. It's something that I think everyone should give a shot at some point in their playing career, especially at a young age, and see what it's all about. And if you like it, keep up with it, because it can help really put you in a good direction if you can really understand the role, and it can help you out within dividends in the rest of your life.
That's what I love about talking about baseball and the sports, not just baseball, most of the sports, but this is a life lesson. Baseball, bring you to what happened in life. It's exciting some days. It is pretty depressing and sad another. It is something that you are in the top today, and then tomorrow you're on the bottom, and how you grind through that, and how you stop paying attention to all the failures and start enjoying those wins that you have, and start getting excited and build something from there. And I can bet and this is by my own experience, when you know the game and you are involved in the game, taking care of professional baseball players is give you an edge and an advantage because, I play baseball in college. I walk in University of Puerto Rico. I was on the bench most of the time, but I had to grind. I have to grind. I have to learn the game and I have to get the book and I have to read about it and I to understand the game from a different aspect and help my teammates. So when I'm taking care of these players in the past, I was more about understanding what they're coming from, where they're going through it, and where they're going to be. And if you understand the game, give you an edge, to take care of not just of the professional athlete, but the high schooler, the college kids that are coming and be taking care of you because you understand what they're going through it. So tell me about that.
Yeah, 100%. I think that when you've been there and you lived, those situations, and especially at a high level, playing baseball in college, you can relate a little bit better to, not 100%, but a little bit better to a professional athlete, a professional baseball player, especially some of those minor league guys too. You understand the grind of, going over 12, and the pressure that it puts on you. And you understand that baseball is a game of failure. And when you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're actually playing pretty well. So you can relate to those guys, on a more personal scale. And I feel like, um, a player, when they come to a physician or when they come to somebody and they know that they've been in their shoes, they've been in that position, it's easier to just, it's easier to connect to that person, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
when I would see you when I was in high school and I knew that you were a former athlete, I knew that you could connect or you could feel, what I was going through when I was dealing with an injury and how it was affecting me. And I feel like, especially people at a high level playing professional sports, they can see that and they know that you've been there before and they know the effect that it has when you're out with an injury. And like I said, that connection is just so much stronger and, it allows you to build that personal relationship, and they can trust you. And I feel like that's all you're looking for as an athlete when you're dealing with with a medical professional is how can you build that trust with somebody? And how can you, if they know, what they're, if they know that you understand what they're going through, it helps that process so much more. And, I think that's one of the reasons why, um, I feel so comfortable down there at the
Mm-hmm.
stadium or dealing with professional athletes or dealing with high level athletes. And I feel like I can really connect with them too.
Yeah, well, you know what? And as a catcher that you were, you must have a good relationship with your coach at that time because going all for 12 and still being able to play that a chance to go all for 12, man. I was coming from the bench. I go all for one, and I will not see another at bat in the next 2 weeks. So you get good relationship of being a defensive catcher there for all for 12. That's tough. But
Yeah.
jokes apart, I know you're coming from a family of chiropractor. Your father that actually teach me a lot when I started practicing. I started in 2010, and he was in that team, and actually I got a lot of pictures from him celebrating that 2010 Central Championship in Cincinnati. That was a fantastic time, and he molded me. He helped me a lot because when what people don't see is that obviously these guys go there, in a game at 7 p.m., they get there around 1 p.m., right? And then and at that time, your father was in practice and they're done, with practice at some point, around 4 p.m. or something similar to that. And then you have, or even earlier, and you have to rush down there, obviously, to go and take care of these guys, prepare them for the game. And you're there for whoever needed, right? So when the game started, he stayed with me for an inning or so, and he molded me. And he molded me, and having him as a molding you at the beginning, probably was a big advantage. It's like having the other day, I have Eduardo Perez talking about him and his involvement with the Big Red Machine and his father, how that helped him to see things different. For sure, you see things different. But, tell me, what is following those footsteps and how is for you? Because we always trying to make something better. And I know you're that guy. You're that guy that's something that your father started that did really well. You're taking it to a different level. And I see your work. Tell me what are you doing and to get there?
Yeah. So, I've definitely been blessed. I from the day I was born, 2 years old, I've been in the Reds locker room, and it's somewhere I grew up. I grew up, being around professional athletes, and I'm so blessed for that opportunity to be able to continue to treat them and to be a part of baseball. And it's something that I always wanted to do. If I couldn't keep playing baseball, I wanted to figure out a way to still be involved in baseball. And I knew that the profession of chiropractic was definitely, it was changing. There wasn't this you know stereotype of some of these old school chiropractors that were just continuing to push subluxation and alignment and all these things. So I knew there was this kind of cool mesh of you know strength and conditioning and rehab and all these different things that were coming down the line within chiropractic. And it was almost like you had a chiropractor, a physical therapist, and a strength and conditioning kind of all wrapped into one. And seeing that kind of come to be the future chiropractor, it definitely interested me. And so, like I said, I was raised in the clubhouse, and I got to go down to spring training every year with my dad. And baseball has always been my love and passion. So I knew that this was kind of the route that I wanted to take if I couldn't keep playing baseball. So, I graduated from chiropractic school, and thankfully I had you. You were with the Reds at that point, to be a mentor for me. And my dad's been an incredible mentor for me, just showing me what it looks like to grind and to work hard. Like you said, it's starting practice at 6:30 in the morning, and then leaving practice at 4:30 to get down to the ballpark at 5, and then you're there until first pitch at 7:10, and maybe staying for an inning after. And I've also been lucky to be around other great orthopedic physicians and people who have been around the game for a long time, who have shown me what it's like to work with professional athletes and how to take control of a situation. So I've been very thankful and blessed for that. But how am I trying to take things to the next step? Like I said, the profession of chiropractic has definitely changed over the past 20 years. We aren't just looking at the spine and trying to just treat the spine. We're looking at the athlete and the player from a more biomechanical standpoint. We're looking at how they move. We're looking at what areas of the body are not moving and causing other biomechanical issues in other places. So it's taking the athlete, looking at them as as a whole, looking at how they move, and it's been really cool just to see how we can integrate those things into professional sports. And it's something that I want to continue to push forward, and we can continue to communicate and collaborate with other professions like the physical therapist, like massage therapists, like the Pilates trainer, and how can we create cohesiveness between all of us and communication between all of us to help the athlete? Because ultimately it's the baseball player that we need to be zoned in on, and not just what we can provide, what we can all provide for that athlete. And if we can come together as a team, and I think that's something we're trying to work on, is how can we all communicate? How can we all bring the same language together to help the athlete, as opposed to, one side of sports medicine doing one thing, the other side of sports medicine doing the other thing, strength and conditioning doing their own thing, where we're not communicating with the athletes. So, if we can continue to pull everything together and everybody be on the same page, it only puts the player at an advantage, and it only allows them to stay healthy, for the long grind of the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely, this is not a one man job. This is about everybody together, working together for the well-being of a player and for the well-being of that organization to get this guy in the field so they can perform and they can, live a life doing it and have more longevity, through the game. And, you do different things. You do active release, you do neuromuscular, stability, you do, dry needling. There's a lot of things that I have seen that you do. And I remember when you get that room, uh, an extra room, and you make it like a workout place, right? I never seen this is years ago. I never seen a chiropractor office who integrated the strength and conditioning aspect, and you start doing it a long time ago. And that's what I prize to my patients about you is, hey, you want to see a guy that not just pop you here and there, like I joke about it, but I say that will work on you as a whole athlete. This is the guy that you have to see. And I'm been really blessed to have, your father, helping me when I started. And obviously you continue that and adding more to the table, because I know what you're saying. You have different orthopedic guys that, mold you the same way that I was molded. I was molded, by this orthopedic group, these people who were involved in baseball for a long time, that I really appreciate what they did for me. There's no question about it. I would not be where I am, my 15 years practice and with the knowledge, especially the knowledge in baseball, without being at the right place and the right time, and having for me, my strength was that I was bilingual, right? I speak different languages. I was able to communicate, because communication is really important, so these players relate to you. And I can bet you have learned some Spanish since last time that I saw you practicing there. For sure, for sure.
No entiendo español.
Here we go. That shows there how much Spanish you have learned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but like you said, but like you said, there the communication is the biggest thing, right? Making sure that we're able to communicate with that player, and they know the path or the way forward, and which we're not just guessing. We're trying to communicate directly, like, this is what we need to do. And if you lay that down for the player, for the athlete, and they have clear understanding of what they're trying to accomplish through either rehab or, potential surgery, stuff like that. Like we talked about before, it's only going to gain more of that trust. And also, like you said, the way that we've tried to integrate more strength and conditioning, soft tissue work. It's just that it's that mesh of a new modern kind of chiropractor where we're taking, things from the physical therapy world. We're taking things from the strength conditioning world. We're taking things from the chiropractic world, and we're meshing things together. And I think that's the cool part about the profession, is that there has been this evolution of not just, laying on a table, adjusting somebody's spine, telling them they're better, and going from there. It's actually, like I said before, looking at the biomechanics, seeing how they move, and trying to make a change, through more strengthening, more understanding of biomechanics, and helping the athletes in those ways.
Well, it is. It's not just a strength and condition; it's a functional strength, and you work, on different muscle group. The core of your body is your core. The core of your legs are your glute. But you need to be flexible. You need to be, strong on different muscle groups that you may not even think that you're using it, but you do, to be able for those muscle groups to be able to activate, especially on a sport like baseball, where you're going from stop and going so many times. You are the beginning of the year. You come to Cincinnati on opening day, and could be snowing that day, right? So imagine that you're coming from Arizona, warm up right there, everything's perfect, 55, 60 degrees in the morning, 70 at game time, you feel great. And then suddenly you come to Cincinnati opening day, it could be, 45 degrees or 30 degrees with snow. And definitely, that can be something that you need to train your body for it, and being able to train with guys like you actually help these players to stay in the field. I hope that you guys enjoying this first part of this episode with Nick Rohlfs, doctor and chiropractor. And if you like it, please subscribe and hit like. And we will see you in the next. The next episode will be part 2 of this interesting interview with Nick Rohlfs.